Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Edna and Harvey, the Breakout. And when last we left off, we managed to get past Holgor and get into this corridor, where we can either go down the hallway or into this room. We also smashed a potted plant. While I was surprised that that happened, what did I expect when I used a polo mallet on it? Especially when we saw before that Edna is willing to smash things if given the opportunity. The surprise of that aside, there's one more thing I want to mention before we go into this room, and that is that someone told me you can press spacebar to reveal everything that can be interacted with, and that is a brilliant feature. It ensures that you don't miss a tiny thing that's out of the way, and for me, it means that I can find everything that I'm going to be interacting with, like everything that's hopefully going to be in this room. Also, the wallpaper is triangles. I didn't even notice that before. It's the little details. Let's go in. Oh my, are there going to be loads of things that we can look at in here? Oh, there are loads of things. Let's start with the most obvious, the light switch.
I wonder what this switch controls.
Probably the light. Let's talk to it and see what happens. Actually, let's pick it up first. Having a light switch would be useful.
Good idea. That way, I can turn the light on wherever I am. Oh no, it's attached. What a bummer.
Our dreams have been ruined forever.
Light. Light. Come on. That's the ticket.
It's one of those voice-activated lights. Or maybe Edna just actually flicked the switch and pretended that her talking to it turned it on. Let's see what happens if you try and turn it off.
Lights out. Lights out. Come on. That's the ticket.
Well, it works. Now let's see about using it. Using it just turns it on, which is handy because we want it on if we're going to be able to see everything that's here. Let's see what Harvey thinks about the light switch.
Look, Harvey, a light switch.
Careful, it could be a trap.
If it's a trap, it's the most slow-setting trap I've ever seen. And then 5 minutes later, we are doomed. It's not likely it's a trap. Let's see what the encyclopedia says about light switches.
Light switch. Noun. Hand-operated manipulation device for controlling light sources.
You learn something new every day. You've just learned what a light switch is. Let's see if we can doodle all over it.
Why bother writing when you can flash messages in Morse code?
Long live progress.
It's probably faster to write in this instance. But hey, we can try and remove the light switch with a toenail. They are so versatile, aren't they?
Relax, Edna. You can simply flick the switch by hand.
You can, but is it as fun? Let's use the polo mallet.
Relax, Edna.
The same dialogue. Fair enough. We've pretty much done everything we can with the light switch. Now let's start from the top here and work all the way down. Is that Alf? That is Alf. It's a long time since I've seen Alf in any form, and I'm not happy to see you. We'll get to you later. We'll start with these test tubes.
Is this an asylum for the mentally ill or Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory?
You'd have to ask Dr. Marcel. Can we have a conversation with them? Of course we can. The question is, what are they going to say?
Whoa. No reaction.
I see what you did there. Very clever. What do you think of these, Harvey?
Look, Harvey, a chemistry kit.
Yippee! Let's turn gold into lead.
Wouldn't we want to do the opposite reaction? I suppose you'd probably want to see lots of lead. After all, you like causing chaos. Time to put a toenail in there and see what happens. If there's a giant explosion and the asylum disappears into a puff of smoke, it's Edna's fault.
Let's see if anything happens now. Disappointing.
That was more than I expected to happen. And we still have the toenail. Now it's covered in chemicals of an unknown type. We should be careful.
Chemistry. Noun, plural, chemistries. 1. The science that deals with the composition, structure, and properties of substances.
Interesting. Now let us use the pen.
I'll mark the flasks not poisonous.
Are you sure they're not poisonous? Don't tell me you drunk them. Can we pick them up?
I can't reach them. I always despised chemistry lessons anyway. Except for the explosions, of course.
I'm not surprised that was your favorite part of the lesson, but I bet we can reach this laundry.
A pile of white lab gowns.
We could surely make use of them. We probably can't, but I'm sure I can find a sort of tangential way of using them.
So soft. I wonder if they used Fuzzy Soft Ultra.
No, more like irradiated with 1,000 Tesla of gamma rays.
Oh yeah, radioactively fresh.
Why do I get the feeling we're going to be getting one of these at some point? Let's see what Harvey thinks about them.
Look, Harvey, laundry.
Are those funny Halloween costumes?
No, it's those impersonal hospital gowns.
Then let's keep on looking.
But we can keep using things on them. You have no sense of adventure, Harvey. Let's use a toenail.
That's a good place for it.
Indeed it is. And now we are down a toenail. Time to get another from our infinite supply, and then draw all over them. Marvelous. They are ours now. I think it's time to use the encyclopedia.
Laundry, noun, collective term for pieces of clothing.
And finally, and not leastly, the polo mallet.
Whatever happened to the good old tradition of beating the rug?
Yeah, you'd think the Y2K bug would have brought it back into vogue.
You're the Y2K bug.
That's me, Millennium Bugs Bunny.
Oh, the Y2K bug. How many people will listen to that and not get what they're talking about? More people than you'd think. Time to interact with the Alf ragdoll.
That Alf is one ugly critter.
Alf certainly had a very distinctive look about him. He was just very distinctive all round. As much as I don't want to, it's time to talk to the Alf doll. I'm afraid it'll talk back.
You make me want to puke, Alf.
No problemo. You're killing me.
Blah.
Yep, as I was afraid it would. It spoke back. Let's see about taking the Alf doll. After we use everything else on it first. Please say this isn't a part of our inventory.
What do you make of this, Harvey?
Yuck, a frog.
But Harvey, that's not a frog. That's Alf.
I see. First you lose your memory, and now you're a professor of zoology all of a sudden.
I think with Alf it would have to be xenobiology, as I recall, he was an alien. Or is an alien, because I suppose Alf is still around in some form somewhere. Here, Alf, have a toenail. Have we lost it? We've lost the toenail. And now we have it back. Let's doodle all over Alf, shall we?
Dang it, he's too furry to scribble on.
He won't even give us this one innocent pleasure.
Foiled again? Curse you, Alf! Let's see if the encyclopedia has anything on Alf. I'll be very surprised if that's the case.
Alf. The page must be missing.
Obviously, the encyclopedia has some measure of dignity.
That or Alf isn't in common usage. I wouldn't be surprised at that. Time to do what everyone here has been hoping I'd do. Smash Alf.
Oh, please, 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 let me beat him to a pulp!
What a coincidence. That is exactly what I was about to suggest. But not yet. I want him to squirm in fear a little longer.
Your time will come, Alf. Soon. That's a brain in a jar. A little concerned about what that's doing here.
Ugh.
Hey, you're not exactly Miss Universe yourself.
Did that brain actually talk to Edna, or is that Edna just imagining it? Let's see what happens if we have a conversation.
Hello?
Hello, Edna. What brings you here?
Okay, we're talking to a brain. This is a very important question, but this one is even more important.
You're able to talk?
Of course not, stupid. Do you see a mouth anywhere? I communicate telepathically.
Clearly you do.
Well, that explains everything and nothing all at once.
Who or what are you?
I am a brain in a jar. But you can call me Bobo, if you like.
Like Bobo the bear?
No, more like Bobo bombastic, bodacious, bodilicious. Gonna smack you to the ground.
I think I'll go with Bobo the bear. This is not likely to get anywhere because you're a brain in a jar stuck in a room full of other things, and very close to an Alf doll. But it's worth a try.
Do you know a way out of here?
Why do people always think that brains in jars always have the answers for everything? No, I don't know a way out of here. I don't travel much, you know.
Makes sense. Finally, let's ask you about Dr. Marcel. You might know something.
Do you know anything about Dr. Marcel?
Beware the evil doctor. He's evil. Evil. I hate it when I get so agitated.
There's nothing more we can talk about.
Ciao, Bobo.
So long, Bobo. I imagine using Bobo here will be the same as trying to pick up Bobo, so let's see what Harvey has to say to Bobo.
What do you make of this, Harvey?
It's a brain in a jar. It's probably Hulgor's.
No, Holgor is definitely using his brain. Time to give you a toenail.
Snap, snap, snap.
Cute.
Have we lost the toenail? No, we still have the toenail. Let's doodle all over the jar.
Hey, hands off.
Okay, we're not allowed to. Let's encyclopedia a brain.
Brain. Noun. Gray-celled IQ container. A human organ that enables its owner to switch off talk shows.
How ingenious! I think I'm going to save before I use the polo mallet here. I get the feeling that the game might very well let me smash the receptacle for Bobo. And that would be unfortunate. Hopefully we get to put you in our inventory. That won't happen if this works. Let's see what happens.
Don't you dare.
Okay, the game won't let us do it. Can we take you with us?
Keep your hands off.
No, we can't. You're going to stay there. Any difference between pick up and use here?
I must use brain.
I see you're trying to use other brains than your own again, Edna. You should take more vitamins. Then maybe, but just maybe, you might be able to use your own sometime in the future.
That was definitely worth the experimentation. How many more things do I have to look at here? A radioactive symbol. Well, I imagine this is going to be radioactive. Either that, or they're just reusing bottles, which could be very confusing. Don't reuse bottles for chemicals. It always ends up bad.
There's a flashy sign on it.
A flashy sign? That's never encouraging.
Oh, genie in the bottle, grant me one wish.
What is your desire, master?
I desire that Dr. Marcel gets a boil on his butt.
Your wish has been granted. Just don't ask me to prove it.
I'd have wished for other things, like getting out of here, or getting my memory back, or the whole building collapsing into a pile of dust and yet we're still perfectly fine. But hey, if that's what you want to wish for, that's what you want to wish for. Harvey, what do you make of this radioactive symbol?
Would you like to try some, Harvey?
Oh yeah! I'll probably mutate into some super being!
You're already a super being to me, Harvey.
We're not going to be giving that to Harvey, but we could put a toenail in it.
Yeah! Radioactive super toenails!
Super toenail! Da, 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 da. It's a toenail, but it's irradiated. I'm still working on my song. Encyclopedia, go!
Radioactive contamination. Noun. Hey! There's a picture of Holger in here.
You're making that up, aren't you? Let's doodle all over it.
It's already marked.
Fair enough. What about the polo mallet?
I'll just dip it in quickly. Look, Harvey! I have a radioactively mutated super weapon now!
Marvelous. Has it actually changed? No, it hasn't changed. Can we take it with us?
Tastes like pineapple.
You drank that! You shouldn't have drank that! And then you drank it again! Oh dear, that's not going to end well at all. Let's look at this blender. Hopefully we'll find some way to get rid of all the radiation you just consumed.
Nice color.
It's sort of an off-orange. If you like off-orange, that's good.
Food processor?
Oh, the hell, Edna.
I get it. That's clever. You're very good with the very clever jokes.
Oh yeah? Can I? Please?
No. Just remember what happened last time.
A rabbit's foot isn't good luck if it's still attached.
You were in a blender before. I'm surprised there's anything left of you. Okay, toenail in blender time. Go! That was very unremarkable. I was expecting more to happen there. Oh well, there can't always be great reactions to putting toenails in things. Let's look with the encyclopedia's eyes.
That's how Yoda's dialogue was developed for Star Wars.
I don't think you're remembering Yoda's dialogue like I remember it. Time to doodle.
No. Too valuable to put it in a food processor.
Fair enough. Can we destroy it, though?
No, that would destroy the food processor even more.
It does look pretty destroyed. Can we take it?
I don't want it. It's broken.
Can we use it?
It's broken.
Fair enough. What else is there left for us to look at? 4 things and the window. Let's start with the 9 pins.
There are some missing.
There are only 2. Do we call them 2 pins now?
Pins usually only talk amongst themselves.
Fair enough. You would know that after all. Harvey?
What do you make of this, Harvey?
I prefer the kind of pin that gets me money from a cash machine.
Have you seen a cash machine anywhere? Because I certainly haven't. Toenail time.
There are rare occasions when a toenail doesn't help a bit.
This is clearly one of them. Alright, encyclopedia.
Bowling has nothing to do with crockery. Who'da thunk it? Keep that in mind, kids.
I will, don't worry, Edna. You were always the most informative teacher I ever had. Time to doodle on them. We can doodle on them. Brilliant. Now let us smash them.
Come on. They're already lying on the ground.
Fair enough. Let's look at the comic books. These might be important. Can we look at them?
Captain Useless and the Quiche of Death. Whoa! It's a limited first edition.
Clearly we want that then.
What would you do in my place, Captain Useless?
I'd go and kick Dr. Marcel's butt.
That doesn't sound very useless at all.
Look, Harvey, a comic book.
Yippee! It's Captain Useless and the Quiche of Death.
This seems to be a more popular line of comics than I thought it would be.
In this panel, we see Handy Boy painting his toenails with invisible ink.
Have you taken that? You've taken it! It's now in our inventory! Marvelous.
Comic book, noun. A magazine containing sequences of comic strips.
Okay. Let us see if we can doodle on it. We probably won't be allowed to because it's in our inventory.
No, Edna, stop it! You can't scribble over Captain Useless's adventures. That would be disrespectful.
Harvey? I think disrespectful is written with one S and one L.
What's that?
Are you breaking the fourth wall again? There's going to be nothing left of it by the end of this. Okay, we can't polo mallet it, I imagine, but we're going to try.
Hey, this isn't wrapping paper. You should show more respect to Captain Useless.
Huh? How come?
Because respect is the force that gives Captain Useless his superpowers.
I'm learning more about Captain Useless than I ever thought I would. Clearly we're going to have to use that comic book on everything in this room now. But first, let's look at the bowling ball.
That reminds me of Holgor.
Why does that remind you of Holgor?
Holgor? Is that you? No reaction. I was so convinced.
Are you poking fun at Holgor? I think you might be.
What do you make of this ball, Harvey?
I'd like to have the matching cannon.
It's a bowling ball.
So we'll need a bowling cannon. Wouldn't want it any other way.
I have no idea what a bowling cannon is, and now I want to find out. Let's put a toenail in one of the holes.
There are no screws. It's a one-piece bowling ball.
I'd be very surprised if a two-piece bowling ball existed. Alright, ballpoint pen time.
By no means. I can't scribble on that.
Likely because it's a solid hunk of bowling ball. Encyclopedia?
Ah! Bowling has nothing to do with crockery. Who'd have thunk it? Keep that in mind, kids.
I still have Edna, you don't need to remind me. Alright, it's time for polo mallet.
I'll only ruin my forehand this way.
Most likely. What about comic book on this?
In this panel, we see Captain Useless being awarded the Krypton King of Gutterball trophy.
Oh, are we gonna have a reaction from Captain Useless for everything in the game? If so, that's brilliant. Alright, cardboard boxes and then comic book on everything.
I wonder what's in there. Whoa, that sounds like... Yeah, almost as if... Well, color me surprised. This is glass.
Really? What made you figure that out? And before I go too far into examining the box, I didn't try and pick up the bowling ball.
I most certainly will not lug this thing around.
That makes sense, it's rather heavy looking.
Can't do that. Some of the pins are missing.
We could still try and play a game. But either way, let's talk to what remains of the glass in the cardboard boxes.
The topics of conversation between me and these boxes are somewhat limited. Demographically speaking, there's an enormous disparity between our social backgrounds.
Fair enough. Harvey, what do you think?
What do you make of these boxes, Harvey?
I'm doing my best not to make anything of them.
That's probably quite difficult. After all, they are boxes. Toenail time? Can we use this? Yes, we can. And we still have the toenail. Doodling? They're ours now. Encyclopedia?
Cardboard, noun. A material thicker than paper and made from cellulose fiber.
You keep learning things while watching this. You may not realize it, but you are. Comic book time.
In this panel, we see Captain Useless selling his explosive belt on eBay.
I don't think that would actually happen. Polo mallet?
I'm certainly not putting it in there.
To be fair, everything would be shattered if you decided to do so. Okay, comic book on everything now.
In this panel, we see how the energy company disconnects the basement cave from the power grid. Presumably, Handy Boy will have to advance the money for the electrical bill again.
They really put loads and loads of things for this comic book in the game, didn't they? That is amazing.
In this panel, we see Captain Useless stepping on Handy Boy's chemistry kit.
We've also discovered that Captain Useless has a sidekick.
In this panel, we see Captain Useless appearing on the crime scene with no pants on.
That would be rather embarrassing. Okay, comic book on Alf.
In this panel, we see Captain Useless making contact with an alien life form.
No reaction to how that went? Fair enough, I imagine it probably wouldn't have gone that well if it was Alf.
No, thank you. I know it by heart. It was the only thing I could read in here.
Oh. Commiserations. Let us use this on the radioactive symbol.
Captain Useless acquired his superpowers when he tuned into the wrong station on his car radio.
How random! Then again, there are superheroes with worse origin stories.
In this panel, we see Captain Useless mixing up left and right.
How puzzling. Oh, wrong thing there. I want to use the comic book on the pins.
In this panel, we see Captain Useless being awarded the Krypton King of Gutterball trophy.
We can't highlight these anymore. And so, when we come back, folks, there's only one more thing that we can use in this area. The window! The obvious way out of the asylum. Though if it's actually going to get us out and away, I don't know. There's also a lot of moss here. This place hasn't been kept very clean. But to be fair, this is a little side room. You can imagine a little bit of moss. Actually, there really shouldn't be any moss here. They really should clean up. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later. We should definitely take this Alf doll before we leave. We can just throw it at anyone that decides to get in our way, and they'll be so repulsed by the appearance of Alf that we could escape. The only downside is we'd then have to have a thing of Alf in our inventory. It may not be worth the terrible price we pay for that. Later.